welcome to another video. My name is Jimmy from Fishing Order Gear, No Idea. Today I just want to run through, getting a lot of questions on my Instagram page at Fishing Order Gear, No Idea, a little bit of a plug for there. I get questions about my Arrowz rods. One of the biggest questions I get asked is what rods are the best for soft plastics, cranking, blading, all that sort of stuff. So it does get confusing, but the best thing about these Arrow rods, it actually shows you on the rod actually what sort of grams the lure class is. So I'll run through, I got 4 models in the Arrows, so hopefully I'll get more in the future to show you guys. So I just want to run through the rods that I use for choosing my cranks and my surface lures and my bigger lures. One thing I like to follow is the whippier the rod, the light action is I use for my cranks. And the stiffer the rod, easy to work that soft plastic. I find it hard to use the soft plastic while you're using a whippier rod. I just can't make connection with the lure that well. But I'll just show you what I use and what lures I use for what Arrowz rods. So the first one I want to show you, Estuary. This is a 2 to 6 pound, so it's actually a 2-piece. So it's great for those guys that are traveling. I'm not really a big fan of the 2-piece rods, but I love it now. These things that's caught me good fish, good bream. If you see on my Instagram page, yeah, it's probably one of my favorites now in the range. But as you can show, I just want to show you guys here that, see, if you look at here, there's 2 to 10 gram in the lure class. So as I said, this has got an awesome light tip action. So I like to use my Atomic cranks on these. This is the mid version, and as you see on the back of these packets, gives you like a 3 to 7 gram weight. So if you look at your rod, which is 2 to 10 gram, it's between that weight. So this is a perfect rod for these cranks. Estuary, Arrowz, check this out, second cast. And that's 3 to 7 gram, and also your deeps. So look at that for stores, guys. This is what I use for one of my cranks. I usually have 2 cranks on my kayak setup, but I'll run through them and let you know what's my 2 cranks, what my rods are for those applications. So that's one of the crank rods I use on my kayak. To show you guys as well is the Estuary, a 7 foot, 5 to 15 grams. So this is my bigger version rod on the Arrowz rod. So you look here is a 5 to 15 grams. So this rod is particularly what I brought for it. It's trucking bigger lures. So there's another popular model out there. It's called the 6 to 14 pound. But what I like to use for that rod is these bad boys. So these are the 60mm version shiners. They're bigger versions. So yeah, your special flathead pink colour, your muddy prawn, and there's heaps of ranges. Just check them out at atomiclures.com.au. There's the full range is there. But on the back of these ones says 7 to 3 grams, and it said the 60mm long. So, but that's the weight of the lure on that rod that I use for these bigger lures. And such as it's a little bit more stiffer rod too. So I usually like to throw on actually your semi-hards, blades. As you know, everyone loves surface fishing. So you can't go past the brim surface. This is the bad boy here. This is the brim surface. It's actually a bit more stiffer. So I still use this one for soft plastics as well, because you've got a 3 to 8 pound. So it's a little bit stiffer than the other versions of the Arrowz, but I usually use this for an all-round rod. Yeah, you see the lure class is the 2 to 12 grams. So particularly this rod, I love using my sugar pens, your 70 mils, your 58s, 58 sugar pens, your backfire poppers, the 65s, your cicadas. It's the 37 grams cicada, 4.3 grams, so I like using that too. Your pop 50s, these are 50mm long and they're 4.3 grams in weight, so that's perfect for those brim surface Arrowz as well. And your K9s, these are 3.3 grams, 60mm long, so they're great for those brim surface rods too. So Another rod I use on my kayak too, just for brim cranks, is the brim crank rod. So this is this bad boy here. So it says 1 to 5 pound. So it's really flimsy, and it's got a light tip and it's got a light action. So as I said, I use my cranks on these. Awesome! Look how big this one is. Ew! I don't use it on anything else. I set these up for my cranks, my deeps, my mids. That's all I use. I don't use it for plastics or anything. So that's no brainer, that one. You said, soon you get that wobble on your tip of the rod, you know your crank's using, it's working well in the water. So that's all I use that one for. This model is the AAS 70 BC 7-footer. So check these out and saw, guys. These rods don't have hook keepers. You have to individually buy them. So these are the Fuji ones. It's like a little gadget here that goes onto your rod that most rods, really good rods, don't usually have little connectors where you put your hooks or plastics or your Hardbody lures. But the best thing is there's not much to them. There's like an elastic band and a couple of little attachments that you actually do. But the best thing about it is when you're not using it and you're about to throw your Hardbodies out, what you can do is simply just flick it back, just like that, so it's out of your way, so it doesn't get caught on your lines or whatever. But the best thing, another thing is to, at the end of the day, you can actually put it back, put your Hardbody back in there, and as simply as that, and off you go. So yeah, check them out. I hope this helps you. Give you some ideas on what sort of stuff I use for my rods and what lures I use. But all my rods are actually with 1,000 reels too, if you guys want to know. Well, hit that like button on my Facebook page. Follow me on Instagram. If you haven't already, thank you if you have. And also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't use that as much as what I should, but all these videos, the bigger videos, are usually on my YouTube because I can only put 1-minute videos on Instagram, so they're short and sweet. But any other bigger versions videos will be in my YouTube folder. Thanks for watching, guys, and till next time, happy fishing, tight lines, and thank you so much. Cheers.